Okay, so this is transpiration. As water enters the leaf, right, you have a buildup of water in the leaf. And so if you have not enough water outside in the air, you're going to have a diffusion gradient. So you're going to have high concentration of water, low concentration of water. So the water will naturally move from high concentration to low concentration through the stoma. Now there are a couple of things that can increase the rate of transpiration. Transpiration is when water moves out of the leaf from high concentration to low concentration. This is another form of diffusion, but it's just called transpiration. Okay. So how can the rate of transpiration increase? Well, in order for the rate of transpiration to increase, you need a low concentration of water outside the leaf. So there's two ways of getting that, two main ways. Number one is if the wind is blowing the water away. So if the wind blows the water away, you've got a high concentration and a low concentration gradient. So transpiration, the rate of it will increase. The second way is if it's really, really sunny. So if it's really sunny and hot, this water will evaporate. This water evaporates away, and so you're going to have high concentration of water, low concentration of water, and the rate of the rate of transpiration will increase again, and so the water's going to diffuse out and go away and then evaporate away if it's sunny. Now the rate of transpiration can be slow if it's a wet and humid day, because you're going to have lots of water under here, and so you're not going to have a high concentration and low concentration, so it's not going to move out as quick. Okay, now I accidentally pressed stop on the other video, so so annoying. Anyway, carry on with the next set of questions, and I'll meet you on the other side of this. Okay, so this was quite an easy question, I thought. Describe the trend shown by the graph from 6 AM to 6 PM. All you have to say is from 6 AM to midday, the rate of photosynthesis increased, and then from midday to 6 PM, the rate of photosynthesis decreased. Very, very easy. Now it says here, state two factors that may affect the rate of photosynthesis during the 12-hour period. While number one, the amount of sunlight is going to be different, so that's affecting it. And number two is the temperature. So this is going to be quite cool here as the sun goes down, so it's the temperature. Now what you need to know for limiting factors is the following. Right, the things that can affect the rate of photosynthesis are the temperature, because if you've got low temperature, then the enzymes won't work as quick. Okay, if you've got low light conditions, then the chlorophyll can't use the sun energy as much. The other thing you need to be aware of is carbon dioxide, because the equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water makes glucose plus oxygen. So if you don't have enough carbon dioxide, or the concentration of carbon dioxide is low, then you're not going to have enough of this photosynthesis going on. And same thing for water. If you don't have enough water, then your rate of photosynthesis is going to be slow, because again, the equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water makes glucose plus oxygen. Okay, so pause the video here and have a go at the next question. So if you're listening carefully, you'd know the equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water makes glucose plus oxygen. So this one here is about quadrats. Okay, so while this is an area question, you should know this from maths, very basic. To work out the area, it's a length times height or width or whatever you call it, but you just multiply these two numbers together, which is 2,000 meters. So this one, describe a method that could use to estimate the total grass on the or plants on the field. Okay, now this is simply a matter of ratios. Okay, so what you're going to do, the first mark would be to say that you're going to use quadrats. Okay, so what you do is you take a 1 by 1 meter area. So I've drawn one here just to explain this. So you've got your 100 meter length by your 20 meter height. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a 1 by 1 meter quadrat. Right, so, and I've taken a random sample, so it has to be a random sample within 10 different areas. I've just chosen 10 because it's a nice number to work with. So then what you're going to do is you're going to count how many flowers in each section, and then you're going to take an average. So add up all the um, sections, all the plants, and divide it by 10 because you've got a sample of 10. So in my example, I've said, well, in all of the 10 meters squared, I've got 40 flowers. Right, just to keep the math simple. So in 1 meter squared, I'm going to have 4 flowers each because I've got 40 in total. Divided by 10, I'm going to have 4 flowers in each meter squared. So that's my average. So then what I've done is I've done a ratio. So 1 meter squared will give me 4 flowers. Right? Now, we don't have 1 meter squared. Our total area, which we worked out earlier, is 2,000 meters squared. So to get from 1 meter squared to 2,000 meters squared, we need to multiply that by 2,000. So we have to do the same to the number of flowers. So if 1 meter squared has 4 flowers, 2,000 meters squared is going to have 2,000 times more than the 4 flowers. So if we're multiplying this side by 2,000, we have to multiply this side by 2,000. So the number of flowers we should expect after carrying out this random sample using quadrats and making an average, we should expect approximately 8,000 flowers in this whole area. Okay, so hopefully that explains it. If it doesn't, just rewind it and have a go again. It's not that difficult, but it's tricky. And if you need help with that, just come see me. Okay. Next, this is quite an easy one, I thought anyway. A goes with T, T goes with A goes with T, G goes with C, C goes with G. Now, that's to say that the adenine is complementary to thymine, so A and T will always go together. And guanine is complementary to cytosine, so G and C will always go together. Now, the other thing you need to be aware of is these two and these two are held together by hydrogen bonds. And the way I remember it is 82. 82, do you get that? Do you get that? So it's like 82. 82. 82. 82. 80 has 2 hydrogen bonds. 82. 80 has 2 hydrogen bonds. Therefore, GC is the one that has 3 hydrogen bonds. That's how I remember it. So it says name the type of bonds that joins the base pairs together. They are hydrogen bonds, and here it is illustrated the bond holding together the base pairs. In this case, they are hydrogen bonds. So it says name 2 types of DNA found in this bacteria cell. Right, this is the chromosomal DNA, and this is the plasmid DNA. The circular one of plasmid DNA. What is the function of DNA in a cell? Like we've been saying for the last 20-30 minutes, it makes proteins. So have a go at the next question and I'll see you there. Okay, so this section's about mutations. Now, if you have genes that are in the incorrect order or a different order, what that means is that the amino acids which the genes code for are going to be in a different order. Now, if the amino acids are in a different order, that means the protein is going to fold incorrectly. And if the protein folds incorrectly, that means the protein will have an incorrect shape, which means that the protein which the gene codes for in the first place will not work properly. Turning over. You can pause here or carry on. So it says state the type of blood vessels that carry blood to the heart. Well, that's veins, because as we know, veins visit the heart, arteries move blood away from the heart. So it's AA and VV. Next it says explain how blood is prevented from flowing backwards in the heart. Well, the answer is between each chamber, so the atriums and the ventricles, there are valves. And valves make sure that blood moves in one direction only. Okay, so it says suggest why the heart can be referred to as a double pump. Well, it's because one side pumps oxygenated blood while the other side pumps deoxygenated blood. So it's pumping 2 things at the same time in different places. So here I want to cover the structure of the heart. Now, the first thing that I would do is I would put my left hand here, so I know this is my left hand, and I'd write left in the left hand area. Then I'd cross it out and write right, because that's the way it is. And I'd do the same here, so I'd put my right hand here, and I'd write right, I'd cross it out, and then write left. So the left is right, and the right is left. So the top two chambers begin with A and the bottom two chambers begin with V. The reason for that is because A comes in the alphabet first and V comes last. So that's how I remember it. A at the top, V at the bottom. So this section here is called the right atrium. This section here is called the right ventricle. This chamber here is called the left atrium, and this is the left ventricle. I'm going to explain each bit now. So you can add to your diagram if you want to. I would suggest you make a diagram. Now, number one is deoxygenated blood comes into the heart via the vena cava vein. So this is a vein because it's visiting the heart. The blood enters the right atrium. Then it goes through the valves, which we spoke about up here, which makes blood go through one direction only. So that's the job of the valves. Then it goes up, the deoxygenated blood travels up through the pulmonary artery where it goes to the lungs. Now the word pulmonary is a fancy word for lungs. So this pulmonary artery, which is taking blood away from the heart, ends up collecting oxygen at the lungs. Then the oxygenated blood returns to the heart via the pulmonary vein. So it's visiting the heart, so it's a vein, and it's coming from the lungs, so it's a pulmonary vein. The oxygenated blood enters the left atrium, then it goes down the valve again, which makes sure that the blood goes in one direction, into the left ventricle. From here, the left ventricle is the biggest chamber of the heart. The reason for this is because it needs to pump blood all the way around the body. So the left ventricle is the biggest chamber. It needs the strongest contraction so that it can send blood all the way around the body. And when it does make that contraction, the oxygenated blood goes through the aorta artery where it goes to the rest of the blood. Now obviously this diagram is not to scale, it's a rough diagrammatic representation, but if you understand this, you should be able to answer any question in the book. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to upload this video. I'm going to take a break. I need to go somewhere. Got things to do. I do have a life, believe it or not. I'll see you people later.